Hey, what's up? It's Comic 95 The Savior, and yeah, as you already saw by the crazy title for this video, I want to talk about hikikomori and otakus in Japan. So basically men that have decided that they've given up on life, they just want to stay inside, and they have lacked a social life, a sex life, dating life, whatever. These are normally men that don't have careers, and people oftentimes don't understand, but everyone that's a part of this like otaku hikikomori culture, so to speak, aren't always people that are bums that don't have careers. A lot of them actually do have careers and do have college educations. They've just given up on life for various reasons. And I kind of wanted to piggyback on another video that I had made in which I was talking about men being accountable. And I feel like this is a huge part of that too, that nobody really talks about here in Japan. So, of course, when you watch like videos, etc. online, it's easy to feel sorry for these men because, yeah, like you think it's sad. These people are, they want to end their lives and other bad things like that. I can't say these words, but you know what I'm talking about. But when you really look at the root of the problem, you see it comes from a lack of accountability. You have men, grown men, who have decided to take a feminine approach to life and have decided they've given up. They don't want to date because they can't handle rejection. They don't want to go to school because they don't like studying or they don't like math. They're bad at it, whatever. And it's like, okay, so your solution is, instead of trying to get better at these things, instead of trying to study, instead of trying to learn how to approach and talk to women, how to attract women, how to make yourself more desirable, whether it be, getting a better paying job, getting more educated, being funny, making yourself charming and appealing to women. The solution is, I'm going to withdraw and play video games and watch porn until the day I die, basically. And I noticed that even when you come across these guys that are trying to help themselves by signing up for dating sites like Tinder or Pairs, etc., you literally see the same type of stuff they're talking about inside their profiles. And it's like, you're not even trying to attract a woman. Like, their profiles are literally, it's like they're trying to make friends with other men. It's like they don't even understand what their problem is and why they can't solve or resolve their solution. Like, so many people think, oh, it's because I'm ugly or I'm a short guy, so I've just given up on life. And nobody wants to hear this part because this isn't politically correct to say, but I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of people that choose to be gay or participate in gay stuff, it's not really a matter of this is the way I'm born type thing. For these people, I'm not gonna get politically correct with them, I'm keeping it real. Yes, I went there. But rather, I feel like a lot of people are experimenting with their sexuality because they have trouble attracting the opposite sex. And I'm not speaking on an American standpoint, I'm talking about here in Japan. I feel like that's really definitely a thing, because even on Tinder, when you look at the profiles of people that normally tell you that, they are gay or bisexual, you look at them and it's like, okay, you have tattoos, you have piercings, I know you're not a salaryman. And when you talk to these people further, you find out they didn't go to university, they normally don't have a heavy, dating history with the opposite sex. There's so much more that can be said about this. I'm not trying to make this an LGBT video, but my purpose in saying this is, I find that a lot of them, they're lazy. They've just given up on life and they feel like they're old women. And it reminds me of the Incel Movement in Europe and in the US, where you have men that feel like, because I'm a good boy, I'm a good guy, or so they think they are, they label themselves that way, they deserve pussy. They feel like, because I'm nice to you, because I use manners, because I have an education, if they even have that, women owe me. Women should sleep with me. Women should give me what I want. And when you really look at it, it's like, for a lot of these guys, it's not that they couldn't find any woman. They couldn't get the woman that they thought they deserved, the one that they want. And I think of myself even as an example. I am not the best looking woman that there is, but I'm gonna keep it real. I'm viewed as being attractive by most men, regardless of what country I go to or what race I'm talking to. And with that said, I've talked about this before. I get messages, I said in my last video about this topic, about accountability. I get messages from guys all the time in which I look at them and I look at their profile and I look at their, Instagram account or whatever, and I'm like, why would I want to date you? Like, you're literally throwing up gang signs. You have weapons, drugs, all type of crazy stuff going on inside. Like, why would I want anything to do with you? Some of them even have children, and it's not just a black thing. I see it with white guys too, Asian men too. You don't even take care of yourself. You're obese, you're broke, you're uneducated, you don't have your own place. Why would any woman in my position, in her right mind, choose you? And so instead of recognizing, okay, I like attractive women, so what can I do to make myself worthy of dating an attractive woman? Instead, the solution becomes, women are awful, they're selfish, they're gold diggers, they're bad people. Why won't nobody date or marry me? You're overlooking all of the ones that do like you and do want you. And I think I talked about this a little bit in my last video, or at least somewhere else, but I think about, the movement with Asian men going through so much to try to make themselves desirable to white women, or even their own women. And it's like, okay, you have South Asian women, you have Indian women, you have black women, etc. that would love to date you, but we're not good enough. You specifically want to chase after a snow bunny, and they don't want you. So you're literally bending over backwards, breaking your back, trying to get some white pussy. Your own women, Asian women, don't even want you. And instead of saying, okay, I can attract the woman that I want because of stereotypes, because of my personality, because of how I look, because of how I behave, because of how I speak. So I can't get what I want. So I'd rather have nothing at all. They don't want to settle for a black woman, if you will. They don't want to settle for an Indian woman, for a Filipina girl. They want to get somebody that is East Asian or a white woman that they view as being attractive, regardless of how that man looks. And they feel like because they went to school and they got money, they should be able to get the most beautiful, sought-after women. And in a perfect world, I guess it will work that way. But you have to remember, the women that you're chasing after, they have options too. Why should they or would they choose you? What is special about you? And so my point to say is, the problem isn't that nobody likes or nobody's going to date them. The type of woman that you want to date and you want to marry doesn't want you is the problem. And I feel like Asian men are crying the same story that I hear other men cry about their inability to attract women. And it's like, no, there are women that do like you. You just don't like the ones that like you. Everybody can relate to that to a certain degree. But when you're not attractive and you don't have money and you don't have education, and you don't have assets and you don't have height, why would somebody choose you? Sorry, being a good boy should be standard, even for a rich man. Nothing fancy or special about that. These men want girls that are way out of their league, and instead of holding themselves accountable and saying, okay, I need to lower my standards and I need to make myself more valuable too by going to school, getting an education, getting a higher paying job, working on my social skills so that I can attract the type of woman that I want. Instead, that's too difficult, so the blame falls on women and you decide to be, shut in, stay inside, play video games, and play dead or alive beach volleyball, crap like that. And the only part that makes me even feel remotely sorry is the fact that these people don't have other people close to them that are trying to help them, because at some point they had a friend, they had family, but everybody decided, oh, not my problem, this person's crazy, I don't care, or I'm just glad you're still alive. But nobody's really trying to get these men help. They're not trying to help themselves. They are satisfied with literally doing the bare minimum to nothing. And that's scary to think of. But yeah, like I was saying, I just noticed, reading these profiles, these men will have more written about their like for Apex Legends and Fortnite and Overwatch and League of Legends, and it's like, you're trying to get a wife on this is pairs. Why are all of your communities about anime and video games? Why is your profile about what your highest score is in your kill streak? And I can't find a single thing about your willingness to get married, when you want to marry, your salary might not even be listed, your height might not be listed. And don't ever get me started on that. There'll be people that'll have profiles like that, that'll talk about how they can't match with anyone, or people always unmatch them. And it's like, you don't have your height listed. Then you complain about how you don't like women that care about height. But then your profile has no content that would make a woman want you. Everything in your profile is written about video games. And then you bitching about the fact that you don't like the fact that women like tall men. Okay, well now I know that you're going to be a short guy and you seem like you have little man syndrome and you seem a little bit angry. And you're a shut-in, so I can only assume that you're also broke. Like, you're literally making the worst profile possible. Then you have men that have profiles where they have themselves fishing, you're wearing shades, you have bad angles, it's blurry, you look fat, like just every bad thing possible. And it's like, what girl is going to swipe right on you? What girl is going to want to contact you? What girl is going to reply to your message if she does swipe right? You are literally putting your worst foot forward, and you're mad that nobody's accepting you. Why should they? And the crazy thing is, no matter how ugly, fat, short, unattractive, broke, uneducated, whatever these men are, their standards remain in place. They still love beautiful women. It doesn't change. Interesting. So it reminds me, there's a really good YouTube channel that I recently stumbled across. I think I might have talked about it maybe for Patreon or somewhere else in another video, but it's called Social Catfish. And they literally have a YouTube channel. I think it has about 50k subscribers as of the making of this video. I hope they get much more. They are much better than the MTV version of Catfish because it's a very raw and real channel in which they have regular everyday people send in a video, talk about their circumstances. And I noticed that in fact not almost, every single case that I saw with the men, unlike the women, every single case with the men, it was always an old, unattractive, or a middle-aged, obese, unattractive, bummy man. Some have money, some don't. That's being scammed by a girl that you can clearly tell is a scam, is way out of their league, way too young for them. And they're throwing money at these girls, and then their feelings get hurt. Some of them have even been willing to walk away from their children and marriage to pursue a relationship with these other women and felt no remorse until they realized they were being catfished. Then suddenly it's like, oh, I made a mistake. I hope my wife takes me back type thing. And of course, stupidly, these women do. But the problem that I have is like, okay, do you see what I'm saying? Your standards are ridiculously high, and here you are crying about being used for money, and you're crying about how you can't find a woman and you've been lonely, etc. But then when I look at your dating criteria and I listen to what you have to say about why you're single, you are the reason why you're single. It's not the fact that women are bad. It's not the fact that there are no options. You've decided that nobody is good enough for you. You want the best of the best, top of the line. And unlike an attractive woman that can possibly get a man that can offer that for her, you are not an attractive man. And in most of these circumstances, they're not rich men. They're average, salaried men. Throwing away money on women. And so in these circumstances, I feel like, these men, they're not holding themselves accountable. They've decided to give up on life. And because they've given up on life and they've decided, I don't want to make friends. I'm bad at math. I'm bad at science. I don't like school. You want the world to, meet you where you are. And you want women to decide, you know what? I don't need a man that can provide. I can play both roles. We don't need to be able to afford Disney vacations. We don't need to be able to travel. Our kid doesn't need private school. Let me sleep and procreate with a bum-ass man. And I've been in situations like that even recently, where I've had to, think about that stuff and reel myself back in. And sometimes God has, thankfully removed people from my life and almost made dumb decisions with them. But it amazes me how these men don't think that they are the problem. They think that it's everything else. They'll blame it on their mental health. They'll blame it on women's high standards, everything else, instead of saying, maybe I should change my standards for myself. Maybe I should change my goals for myself. Maybe I should be accountable and tell myself, hey, I'm being lazy. Hey, I need to work out. I need to make some friends. I need to hit up the gym. I need to go back to school and get a higher degree. Maybe I need a master's, or, I need to get a doctorate or something like that. Or I need to change what I have a degree in. Instead of blaming women for your problems, look at yourself. You are the reason why you are shut in. And then look at the way that you present yourself online. Your profile is as though you're looking for another nigga. As a woman, I happen to like video games, but even for me, I'm like, sir, this is a marriage app. Like, even when you match with these people, their profile isn't enough. When they talk to you, their whole conversation is about video games, cosplay, anime, and it's like, my nigga, can you plan a date? And then when it comes to dates, they don't even want to spend no money on you. After you got through hearing all of that shit about their love for otaku culture, now they want to go out for ramen, or have some, yakitori, some cheap shish kebab type food, or, just go out for drinks. And it's like, okay, you're already short, you're fat, you're ugly, you're a bum, you have no friends, and now I can't even get a date at it. Like, what do I get out of being your wife? The only thing that I can think of is, with these bummy ass men, they are less likely to cheat on you. Doesn't mean they're not going to, but they're significantly less likely, because you probably the only pussy they ever finna touch. You got these grown ass 30-plus-year-old men running around as virgins, and they think that women are the problem. Women are at fault because their standards are too high. Interesting. Your solution is for women to lower their standards and be willing to be poor with you, instead of you saying, you know what, women are right. They shouldn't have to live inside of these poverty circumstances. Let me match or exceed them to give both myself more options and to provide my children and my wife with a better life. That would make way too much sense. Accountability never sounds good. So it's just so crazy to me that I see these men with their profiles looking like they're trying to find another man versus trying to find a wife or trying to find a girlfriend. No girl wants to hear about your score on Apex or wants to hear about your new boom, as they say in Japanese. It's playing some random video game. If you want to talk about games in your profile because you want another girl that's a gamer girl, I like games too. Make it a small section of it. Your profile should not have more content about your hobbies and or video games than you do about what you're looking for. We don't need to hear about your obsession with Pokemon Go. You're on a marriage app, and then to have the audacity to complain about why you're not getting matches when you can't even tell people basic information about yourself. The audacity to care about and choose women because you find them beautiful, but you're unwilling to show your own face. You're unwilling to share your height. But the reality is, whether men say it or not, men don't want women to be taller than them because it also makes them feel emasculated. They don't feel masculine. They don't feel manly. Even the tallest of men don't like tall girls. Most men want their girl to be shorter than them, preferably by at least a few inches, if not more. Women are not asking for anything crazy to have a man that can provide, just like how their men did back in the day. People constantly talk about how, back in the day, whatever, average man. Yeah, and average men also were still breadwinners. They were the ones bringing home the bacon. They still had housewives. Times have changed. Things cost more. So instead of saying, okay, well, back in the day, people used to only make $100 per week. Okay, and you want to know what? That $100 per week was enough money. It was a lot of money to cover all of your needs. Just as times have changed with beauty requirements for women, and we've raised the bar for ourselves and are trying our best to meet those standards, you can do the same thing. Go to school, get an education, get a better degree. And when you don't have those things, or if you do have them, don't sabotage the way that you are presenting yourself. Y'all don't even know how to talk to women. That's why you can't get pussy. Your profile is literally, I would think that you're trying to attract another gay man. Because as a woman, my pussy done dried the fuck up after reading that shit. You got more to say about video games, and then for the ones that do talk about, marriage or whatever, it's just them complaining or talking about how they don't want to do anything, or they're uncertain, they're unsure, you need time. Sir, you have no time. You're ugly. You're broke. You're short. You should be throwing yourself at any woman that's stupid enough to take your last name. And instead, your profile goes along the lines of, well, I don't know. Maybe if I meet the right person, I'll think about having kids. I'm not sure. Or nothing at all. So I'm matching with you and taking a gamble with a man who's on a marriage site, but you don't even know whether or not you want to get married. What? And then some people even have inside their profiles they don't want to get married. Then you deal with men that are older too, and you know that they lived their whole, early parts of their life, maybe the first 20, 30, 40 years of their life being fuckboys. And now that you're old, shriveled up, all of your friends are married, now you realize only because everybody else around you is married. They literally will write that in their profiles in Japanese, that they notice the amount of people around them, the numbers are increasing, everybody's getting married except for them. So basically you're saying you've caved into peer pressure. You don't really want to get married, you never really thought about it, but because everybody else is doing it, I want to jump on this bandwagon too, is what you basically just said. So you wait until you're older, you're used up, your body count is high, you've had your hot boy summers, and had, that doesn't even sound right, you know what I mean? You got F-boy summers, I should say. You got to F around and play people, etc. Now you want to settle down. And we should accept you as you are. Interesting. But at least for those men, fine. They're going out and trying to, get things for themselves, and their profile even tell you. But you have these men, and it's like, you're crying about how you're not meeting women, or you can't, and you're not even willing to show your face on a dating site. You got your hand covering your mouth and nose. Your photos are so heavily filtered that when people do meet you in person, they're disappointed instead of like, oh my God, you're so handsome. You don't want people to see how tall you are until you meet in person. You withhold important information. You don't answer questions that you know you should ask. Like, even if a girl doesn't ask you about your height, you should just go ahead and tell her, to save both of you some time, so that this way, when she meets you, she knows you were a short man, instead of being surprised and shocked upon meeting you in person. Men literally sabotage themselves and then blame women for it. It ain't every man, but I'm talking about these men in particular. These otakus, hikikomori, whatever type people. And then the fact that a lot of these guys, when you do meet them, Their personalities and behavior is trash too. And I hate this whole idea of like, oh, well, you know, it's mental health, whatever. Trust me, I've had days I didn't want to get out of bed too. And it's like, you know what? You have to hold yourself accountable. Nobody else is responsible for you and your mental health issues. And I'm sorry that you don't have enough intelligence to think for yourself, but I want to be the one to tell you this. Doctors are scamming you. There is no amount of, and so are therapists. There's no amount of therapy. There's no amount of medication. Don't let you know your godfather that's now dead, your real godfather now, I should say, because he ain't even alive anymore. But yeah, it's like y'all let him trick you on to thinking, oh, like, you know, you need therapy fixes everything. No, it doesn't. Therapy can be therapeutic, literally. I mean, that sounds redundant or whatever for the moment, but your problems are not going to change just by you sharing them with other people. You have to take action yourself. You have to take accountability for your own happiness, for your own life. It's no one else's responsibility. If you don't like where you are right now and you realize I am not attracting what I want, whether you are a man or a woman, but I'm talking to men right now, you need to get up and do some shit about it. You can blame the opposite sex all you want to. You have to get up and do something. For example, myself. So my whole channel even comes on with this topic of dating to begin with. I can sit back and say, well, everybody's an F-boy, so I guess I'll just play their game. No. I learned the game. I mastered it. And now I can play other people if I want to. I know how to choose better. Instead of me blaming men, which it is their fault, don't get me wrong, I've taken action. I decided I am going to go out and decide what I want and look for only that. And if people don't meet my requirements, instead of making exceptions to the rule and being humble and modest, no, I just cut you off cold turkey. I don't play that shit no more. And men don't like that, and that's cool. That's how I'm now moving in the right direction. You need to do the same thing. You have to take accountability. Girls don't like the way that you look. Girls don't like the way that you dress. Girls don't want to marry somebody with your income. Instead of getting mad at girls for wanting nice things, for wanting a good life, ask yourself, why don't I want these things? Why am I not getting these things? Why don't I have these things? 4 years now will make the remainder of your life easy. All you got to do is get a bachelor's degree. A good bachelor's degree, not a fun one. I've already went over this several times on my channel. But yeah, it's just so crazy that, I mean, even for myself, as somebody that would fall into the otaku category, love video games, love anime, love, you know, all the stuff all my life. But I find myself not even interested in this stuff when I listen to and read stuff from these people, because you see how dirty they are. Like, oh my God, I can't tell you how many times I've dated a guy, and upon going to his house, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna subtract 1 from my body count because I am not finna fuck you. Like, I'm glad we didn't. No. I'll even be honest, I've dated people in which after dating them and sleeping with them, I later found out how nasty they really were, and I'm like, I feel disgusting the fact I even let you get anywhere near me and touch my body the way that you did. Like, these men are gross. They don't want to clean themselves, take care of themselves, nothing. And they blame everything on the fact that they're sad, they're depressed, they're whatever. And it's like, okay, so you're going to sop around in your gluttony, downing Monster energy drinks, downing Red Bull, eating gyoza every day. And you want people to feel sorry for you because you're fat, and you're a bum, and you're uneducated, and you don't have money. You want people to like you for non-superficial reasons, as men say it. You want them to like you for what? What do you have to offer? Nothing. You are not attractive. You are not tall. You have no money. You have no... What do we like? What's not considered superficial then? Because if I can't like you because you have money, and I can't like you because you're handsome, and I can't like you because you're tall, sorry, sir, but unless you're crazy, you should be a good person. That's not enough to choose to marry somebody off of. There has to be more to it. Marriage is a commitment, lifelong. It's a partnership. As a so-called traditional woman, why would you want a man that cannot provide for a traditional family? Children aren't even that damn expensive. Despite how much it's constantly overhyped and exaggerated, it really ain't. It's expensive when you're broke. It's expensive when you chose not to get an education. It's expensive when you misuse and misappropriate your money. That's when children are expensive. So that's it. All I gotta say is, just going piggybacking off of the whole accountability video. Even when you all make dating profiles, your profile screams, I want another nigga. Like, do these friends of yours suck your dick and ride it for you or some shit? Because I'm really just confused. Y'all millennials and Zoomers in particular, Gen Z hoes, talking about touching grass or whatever. Like, I'm glad you all learned a new idiom or metaphor, whatever, from back in the day, that old ass line. Y'all need to learn how to touch some damn pussy, because y'all ain't getting shit nowadays. And the reason being is not because of porn or because of OnlyFans or anything else. No, it's a lack of accountability. Y'all are lazy. You don't want to go to school. You don't want to hustle. You don't want to get a degree. You don't want to work. You want everything to be handed to you. And then some of you all, you are working. You're not even saving your money to get out of your mama's house. You are satisfied living with your mom. And I'm sorry, some of you all think that you're doing good because you're still in your 20s. You shouldn't be living with your parents past the age of 24. And to me, that's pushing it. There's no reason for you to have been out of school for 1+ years and still living at home with mommy and daddy. You've had an entire year of no rent to pay. Why can't you afford your own place? You ain't got to live in the city that you were raised in. Your parents have money that you don't have. So move where you can afford. Maybe that means moving to a different city. Maybe it means moving to a different state. Quit making up excuses. This goes for both men and women, but especially men. You're satisfied with nothing, and you want women to be bowing down at your dick and be grateful for the fact that you exist because you don't have a felony or you don't have a baby mama yet. Okay, you shouldn't. 2 claps for you. You want a cookie, nigga? Like, what? Y'all complain about not being able to meet women, but your profile says all beautiful bitches stay 10 feet away from me because I'm a bum. That's what your profile might as well say. You live like one too. You go to these niggas' houses and they got, Love Live shit and Dead or Alive posters all over their wall. Why would any woman want to marry you? It's one thing to have a room or some shit like that, but this is not America. This is Japan. You living inside of an apartment, my nigga. You ain't got space for a shrine like that. And it's not just what's on their wall. It's literally representative of how they lived their life. Their place. I should have made this a whole story time. I talked about it a little bit, I think, on Patreon. But there was this guy that I dated almost a year ago now. And I had a nice date with him. It wasn't at a good place. It was a cheap-ass restaurant. But he seemed like a nice guy. He was romantic, wanted to hold hands. And I was going to have sex with him. And when I walked all the way to this dude's place from the train station, I literally got undressed because I was going to have a shower and go to sleep with him. I saw this place was dirty upon coming into his house, but I didn't notice just how dirty it was until I sat down on his tatami mat, and I instantly got dust all over my pants. I was wearing black leggings. My socks became dirty. He had all of these consoles and anime and posters and video games. Everything was covered in inches of dust and dirt and filth. His place was so dirty. Even when I went to the bathroom to get undressed, I didn't want to touch not just the floor, I didn't want to touch the mat outside of the shower because it was covered with dirt and shit. And I'm like, the moment that I'm done taking a shower, my feet get dirty. How are you living like this? How? And the sad thing is, his place wasn't the dirtiest. My patrons know Chiba Bay took the cake for that. But they were definitely neck and neck. They were competing with each other. And I'm thinking to myself, at least with Chiba, he didn't have anime and shit glorified all over the walls. But with this nigga, I'm just thinking to myself, okay. And this guy was older. Why do you want to live like that? Why? And his profile was misleading too. He had his hand covering his mouth. And when you met him, you saw, oh my God, I realized how big of a difference a mouth can make. His mouth was hideous. He had these really overly full lips. And they looked really wrinkly and just nasty. I'm not gonna lie. But he was a nice guy. And I tried to overlook it. His breath was awful. I couldn't kiss him. And then after going to his place, he was a tall guy. And he had a Photoshop picture that made him look really good. You would have never thought that he was going to be an ugly guy. And he wasn't really ugly. He was he's a little ugly. He was a mix between ugly and okay looking. But he was tall. He was 6 feet tall. And he had a career. He did an IT job. Awful. I literally had to decide at that moment, right before my foot was going to touch the panel, I was like, no, you're not doing this. You're not doing this, girl. I put my clothes back on. I had to tell him directly, I was like, your place is dirty. And he had to apologize. He felt so embarrassed and bad. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you even invite a woman back to your place when you know it looks like this? And these are Japanese people that y'all think is so clean and all of this Maria Kondo. They don't do any of that shit here. Even the average Japanese person is really a hoarder by US standards. All of that shit she did is made up. Japanese people do not follow any of that garbage. It's not true. So anybody that's living in Japan can vouch for me. They use a lot of old, dirty, dusty, nasty ass. They don't even replace soap bottles. Oh, they don't use soap, but that's another story. But yeah, it's like you literally have your place set up where like I felt like I was gonna get lice from sleeping in that nigga bed by that point. Why would I want to live here? Why would I want to date you? Why would I want to fuck you? I'm gonna get dust in my pussy from being with you. Hell no, I ain't bringing bed bugs back to my place. His shower was so dirty, I probably would have felt more comfortable bathing in that nigga toilet, taking a bird bath in it. So, yeah, it was like, I'm amazed at the amount of people that live like this. And people want to instantly point to mental health, like, oh, like, I feel sorry for you, whatever. It's like, no, suck it up and take accountability for it. I've been through probably more than any of those men have. I've talked about my experiences on my channel several times about dealing with being abused, etc. And instead of me deciding I'm going to be a shut-in and do nothing about it, and I get it, different people have different levels of strength and handle things differently, but the reality is everyone is capable of being strong. You are. You have to take accountability and decide, I want a good life, I want to be happy, and I'm going to do some shit about it. And until you do that, you are not going to be happy. Nothing is going to be done, nothing is going to change. You can't just pop pills that your doctor is giving you and spend 2 hours a week talking to a counselor. You have to figure out how to make yourself happy by yourself. You have to figure out how to better your life. You're sad because you're broke? Get an education and make more money. You don't have the money for an education? Cut back on other dumb shit that you don't need. Y'all will swear you don't have money for shit, but you're fat. You have money to buy food, to waste on expensive food at that too. Y'all can go to Chick-fil-A, order sets from McDonald's and whatnot. That's money that you don't have. You can buy the latest iPhone, the latest designer shoes, latest handbags, latest car. Y'all even get loans on this stuff. But then y'all like to use extreme examples of people with $5 million in debt from student loans, which most people do not have that damn much. You also don't consider the fact that it's good debt. I am grateful for student loans because I would rather pay that couple of $100s per month to a student loan bill than to be making a couple of $100s per month with no debt and no bill. You've let rich people trick you into thinking that school is a waste when you don't have the same ideas that got those people rich. You don't have that $1 billion idea, and that's okay. I don't either. And for that reason, I will always promote going to school and getting an education for both men and women. You should never want to be reliant on one job or one person to make your money. You always want to be in a position where should you end up divorced, should you end up, leaving that company or wanting to move somewhere else, you have other options for work. But you all are lazy. You take no accountability. And instead of you recognizing, okay, I'm sad, I'm depressed because I've decided that I've given up, it becomes, well, I'm sad and depressed because I'm adopted, or my parents didn't love me, or I aged out of the system. Okay, that's your excuse for being a bum and working at Aldi at the age of 30? That's your excuse for why you can't get pussy? That's your excuse? If you want to be satisfied living a miserable, bum, depressed, then have fun. I ain't gonna judge you for it, but I sure as hell ain't finna F you, and I ain't gonna marry you, and don't get mad at me for not choosing you. Because the reality is, you have options. You've just decided that you don't want those options. Like I said, it goes back to what I was saying about Asian men. I'm sorry to change the subject, but just keeping it real. They'll cry to you about how they can't get women. Asian girls don't like them. White girls don't like them. No, it's not that you can't get women. You can't get the woman that you want. You want a girl that is fit, white, blonde hair, blue eyes. And them bitches don't want you. The only time they marry you is when you a doctor. Because they want your money. And only your money. Because money isn't, it's not bad to like a guy because he has money. But if that's the only reason, then yeah, sure. Just like as a man, you shouldn't like a woman just because she's beautiful. But to admire her beauty, there's nothing wrong with choosing a girl that's beautiful. It's not that you can't get women. You don't like the ones that like you. And it's not even that they're ugly. You feel entitled to it because you have a fetish and preference for white women. And because you can't get white women, then you're like, oh, fine, well then at least I can go back to my own, right? Wrong. They realize they have better options. They have privilege by being an Asian woman. more power to them. So I'm done. All I gotta say is, like, just piggybacking off of the last video, take accountability. Look at your profile. Look at how you're presenting yourself. Look at how a woman is going to feel. Is a woman going to read your profile and be like, oh my god, that's my future husband, that's my baby daddy right there? After seeing that you have inside your profile that you recently started playing Apex for 14 hours a day, and you do online surveys for 2 hours a week, and you make $2,000 per month. What girl is going to be impressed by that? Why would you put that in? You don't even have to share that with somebody. Keep that to yourself. Y'all sabotage yourselves. You don't give information that people want to have up front. You don't even compare to the average man because of this. You don't want people to know how much money you make. You don't want people to see what you look like. You complain about women caring about these things, but then it's like, okay, hypocritical much. We should be okay with meeting a man at a mystery height with a mystery salary, with a mystery face. But for you, you purposely went out of your way to like profiles of women that you saw that were very beautiful, that fit your personal preferences when it comes to height, weight, and everything else. A lot of these men, they're not willing to marry a woman that's a single mother, that's been divorced, that's too tall, that's too fat. They have standards in place, and pretty high ones too, considering how little they have to offer for you as a husband. Take accountability. You can't attract what you like. Figure out why you can, and change what you can to get what you want. It's nobody's fault but your own. You're depressed, you're sad, you're lonely, you're whatever. You gotta fix yourself, because I'm gonna keep it real with you. Doctors ain't trying to help you. Let me give you some free game. Their goal is to make money. They don't make money when you get cured. Them pills do nothing but make you fat, addicted, and numb you. It does not make you magically forget why you are depressed. Your pills are not your friends. Your counselor isn't either. They don't give two fucks about your situation. I'm gonna be honest with you. They're getting paid to pretend like they care. Some of them love their job and they really do want to give you honest advice, but stop giving them money and watch how little they're gonna care suddenly. And it's okay, they deserve to be compensated too. But my point is this: they don't really want you to solve your problems because they want you to keep going back to them. They need money. It's the truth. It's a business. That's why it's not free most of the time. Even if it's free, you have to recognize I'm doing an endless cycle of telling people how I feel instead of changing what's going on around me to change the way that I feel. You got to do something about it for yourself, and you can't blame nobody but you. It ain't your mama fault, it ain't your daddy fault, it ain't the orphanage fault, it ain't your school fault, it ain't your career's fault. It ain't nobody's fault but yours. You chose a bad degree. You chose a dumb career. Your interview skills suck. You suck at talking to women. You need to figure out what you have to do to get ahead in life, not other people. It is not women's responsibility to lower their standards because you decided you want to be lazy and you don't want to get an income that matches the environment and climate that we're living in right now, and because you decided that you don't want to go to school. That's your fault. And your poor decisions are going to give you poor choices and poor options to choose from when you want to get married, when you want somebody to ride you and suck you. Simple as that. You might think it's unfair, but as I said before, men have it easier. A degree in education benefits everyone, including yourself, more than anyone else. A woman's beauty is limited. I am going to age. My body will become more saggy than it already is. I will lose my ability to have children. Life goes on, and I can't stop that until the day that I stop breathing. I will always be aging, and that hurts me in the sexual marketplace. For men, once you get that degree, you set for life. You can get fired, you can quit, get another job. Don't blame society. Look at yourself. You feel like you're forced to be a shut-in. No, you forced yourself into that lifestyle. You decided you don't want to do anything. You gave up on yourself. And I want to be the one to tell you it's not too late. It's never too late. I don't care if you're 80 years old. Go back to school. There's free content here on YouTube. You can learn skills, to talk to people, to socialize, to network, to make friends. You have to get outside yourself. You have to step outside of your comfort zone. If you just sit around and decide, oh, I'm too shy, I don't feel comfortable doing it, you're not a baby, you're grown. No one's going to hold your hand. You don't have money, your priorities are messed up. There are scholarships to go to school. There's loans for going to school that don't even require good credit. But most of you all don't bother to look into that. But you'll bother to waste the time to look into why you should buy an iPhone 13. You got time to look into dumb shit about your favorite video game, about your favorite food, travel plans, everything else that's not of importance. You want to do everything but better yourself and your life and make things easy for you. And it's not just men, it's women too. But I'm getting on men like how I said, because I'm a straight woman and we talking about these shut-ins and men need to touch some damn pussy. Unfortunately, if you are living with your mommy and you are 24 plus, your parents might think they mean well by giving you a free place to stay, but they are sabotaging you. They are not allowing you to be independent. They're appreciating the fact that they have free labor around the house and that their little baby isn't going to grow up. Your parents got theirs. They have their education or they don't. They have their partner or they don't. They're older than you. They lived their life. You are wasting yours away. You will never truly be mature or truly independent until you are on your own. If you can't find a woman, there's a reason why. Look at your own standards. Look at what you have to offer these women and be real with yourself. If you were a woman, would you choose yourself? If you were an attractive woman, would you choose a man that is unattractive? If you had money, would you want to date a woman that is unintelligent, ugly, 6'3", a bum? And I don't mean this to shame or bash women that can't help their height or for being overweight. I'm just keeping it real with you. You have standards in place. Excuse my notification from a minute ago. You have standards in place. You have decided what you are or are not attracted to, and that's what you would go after. Don't get mad because women do the same thing. It's human nature. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not superficial. It's not phony. It's not bad. Society has us thinking otherwise. And really, it's men trying to have us think that way. Because men have never changed their stance on beauty. They will always want a beautiful woman. But for women, we have to pretend like we don't care about your money. So, that's it. All I gotta say is take accountability. Learn how to write a profile. Learn how to talk to women. Look at how you're presenting yourself. Does it seem like you want a woman or like you're looking for a friend? Because if I'm looking for a husband, I'm definitely finna swipe left on that profile. Can't see your face, can't see your height, can't know your salary. But I can know about your love for video games. And then even upon talking, you have no serious questions to ask. You want to go on a whole rant about anime and video games. And I'm like, my profile doesn't even talk about that shit. I don't care if I talk about liking it. I have other things inside my profile too. Like, can we talk about serious shit? These men are just as bad as the ones that immediately want to go to a hotel. They're living in La La Land. I want to marry a man, not a boy. These profiles read like a 7-year-old's or a 10-year-old's or some shit. Reminds me of my brother back when we were growing up as kids and he couldn't stop talking about Dragon Ball Z and Sonic X. That's what you all sound like. I love these things too. But as an adult looking for a marital partner, let's talk about that in moderation at a later date. And for right now, let's get to really know each other. How about you plan a date and then you can talk about this dumb crap over food in a real environment. But I'm not going to be exchanging messages back and forth with you, and I'm not going to play video games with you online for a first date. Like, no. So, I'm done. Give me your 2 cents down below, ladies. Do you hear what I'm saying? Have you encountered stuff like this? And for men, you know, I want to hear your thoughts on it as well. If there's any men watching this video, like, do you have friends that are like this? Are you like this? Be real with yourself. So, I mean, not everybody, you know, has the power to fix and change these things. But the reality is, you can't sit around and feel sorry for these people because you have to recognize it's their own decision and choice. Not everybody has the ability and strength to think to themselves and step outside of their depression, step outside of, whatever is going on with them and say, you know what, this is an endless cycle. I feel bad, I take medicine, I go to counseling, I feel a little bit better, then I feel bad again because I realize, okay, well, I'm not really going crazy in my mind right now. I feel lonely because I don't have anyone. It's do you not realize that the problem all starts with you? You feel, you don't. So what should you do? So yeah, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about that, what your thoughts and opinions are on it. Please leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. I have a Snapchat and TikTok at Comic the Savior, and a Facebook fan page at Comic95 the Savior, and a blog at Comic95.com. If you enjoyed this video, please check out my YouTube channel's homepage. I have tons of videos on the topic of Japan, from dating, working, studying, and living here. You can use my search bar on my channel's homepage to find answers to various questions or hear my opinion and thoughts on different things. And if you have any questions you would like to ask me, please feel free to send me an email, and I will try my best to make a video answering your question. So other than that, once again, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, leave a comment, and I guess that's all for now. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you for watching, and I hope you will watch another video. Bye.